Hello, Gravitrons. I'm more gravity. Let's play chess. Gotta fix one thing. There, that's better. Okay, let's start a game of chess and come back here to make sure that the appropriate parts are displayed. Looks pretty good. Let's get rid of those. There we go. Alright, we were going to play the Queen's Pawn opening today. Me, myself, and I. I thought it as white. Here we are playing the Queen's Pawn opening as black. Okay, the game was reasonably accurate with a really late break and a fun finish. So we're going to review this game. I thought my opponent played well. I thought I played better. Let's get to it. All right. Good. Just a second here to sort of clean up this window, so to speak, organize it better, make it more neatly laid out, and as a result, you get to see even more of me. All right. So here we are. Had the black pieces. Look at this game was even with hardly a break until we'll click on it. It's until as late as the 33rd move. Wow. So a Queen's Pawn game. I played the Slav defense, and this is all book. We've seen this before. The bishop to g5 is maybe out of book. What do I want to say about that? Oh, first we want to see this game in review. Okay. And then we want to go to here where we have these four moves chosen. Bishop g5 is fine, I think. I think it's good. Now you would want to maybe put the question to the bishop with h6, but then your knight's gone in a way that doubles pawns. Either g takes f6 or e takes f6, so white's proven some kind of result out of that. Not only that, but the d5 pawn was being protected by this knight. This bishop's not going to do anything better to help protect that pawn while it's on d5 than capturing a piece that's supporting it. Now the pawn's supported only once, attacked once. This could be part of a plan for white. So captures on f6 is on after perhaps h6. Is for this reason that I played knight to c6, just getting on with things despite this captures issue, which frankly would probably cost black a tempo of initiative. So I say, I'm not going to play h6. I'm going to get my knight out, and if you want to double my pawns, well, you're giving up the minor exchange, and and so on. Knight to f3. This looks like this is some sort of four knights. It's not the four knights or the Spanish four knights. There's another one, the Italian four knights. It's some kind of four knights, maybe. I don't know. It's probably actually not in the opening books. But e6, my opponent and I are playing solid moves, nothing too aggressive or too flashy right off the bat. I continue to show that I continue to show that I am willing to trade on f6, even if it means doubling pawns on the f file. h6, some old ideas. Now, the point of h6 here is, if my opponent's going to capture now, after I've played pawn to e6, I recapture with my queen, and I'm happy. My queen's in a nice, safe spot on f6. She's influencing the board in all different directions, as only queens are known to do, or to the extent that only queens can do. My opponent captures, and I have a queen who's influencing the game. I've created a luft on h7 for maybe my king is eventually escaping back rank issues by going to h7. So there's that luft. There was more to it than that. This was a good move that I made. h6 is a good move. And if my opponent wants to keep the pin, then and only then will I introduce either bishop to e7, relieving the pin, and the knight is free to move without material consequence. Or in some lines, I might push pawn to g5. I don't think that's on for black because of knight takes g5, h takes g5, bishop takes g5. That's a knight for two pawns. And the bishop is here with what is now a decent pin. I can still sever the pin with bishop e7, so it's not really a great pin, but it's good. That being said, most often I'm going to keep my g7 pawn home, so that once I move my bishop, I have a safe wall of pawns behind which to place safely my king on g8. Alright, that was a lot, huh? So here comes some of it will be illustrated here. Bishop to h4. And yeah, I have to agree with the computer on this one. Why did I play bishop to d6 here? I think most often I should probably play bishop to e7. Bishop to e7 is considered the second best move by way of computer moves, and I kind of like it. It fits more in with the game. And Torch likes g5 as the best move here. Right? No, that's not bad either. My opponent has to give up a piece for 2 pawns, like we were saying earlier. He gets the 2 pawns and gets this pin on f6. But here we're seeing g5 offered as better for black, which means probably the computer might have pruned this line. Might have not, but bishop to g3, then this is better for black. Bishop to g3. Could continue to haunt that bishop with knight to h5, and he can't backpedal. So attacked, covered. Maybe this is the line the computer likes. Let's see. g5, bishop g3, knight e4 gets pretty much the same idea, but while maintaining a stronger position in the meanwhile. e4 is also more dynamic. If my opponent captures on e4, then pawn takes e4, and there's conniptions. That's a good word, by the way. Conniptions. There's conniptions for white regarding his f3 regarding his f3 knight. White has some conniptions to go through. Okay. Anyway, I played bishop d6, which doesn't throw the baby out with the bathwater at this rate. This is not a horrible move. It's just a little bit of an inaccuracy. I agree with Torch on this one. Pawn to e3, right? White has this very solid medium to large size pawn chain. Knight to e7. One of the things about this game, as I'm showing, I am not worried about doubled pawns on the f-file. And I am thinking, actually, given where the sides have, given the fact that neither side is castled, rook to g8 after a doubling on the f-file could be a strong long-term to medium-term to long-term move for black. Okay. Bishop b5 check. We just block while activating a piece. My opponent pours on, and the best move is to tempt it. All excellent or best moves along the way here. This is just standard piece trading. The right move to finish is, of course, pawn takes f6, and we might just get that attack along the g file. Kingside castles. Here I play the move pawn to b5. I'm willing to give up my bishop to take down an outpost on c5. I'm willing to do that partly because with the knight steady at c5, look at how many moves it takes. Knight steady on c5. Look at how many moves it takes my knight to come in a place where he can attack on 2 and then 3. And one of those moves lands on a piece of my own color already occupied, so that's got to go out of the way at some point. These knights positioned like this with one square in between them, they might as well be worlds away. These knights positioned one square diagonally between them, they might as well be worlds away. You lose so much initiative trying to track down the knight on c5 that to capture there would be 4 moves. You're better off I'm better off capturing on c5 with my bishop. Okay, knight to c3. So that all didn't happen, mostly because my opponent backpedaled from the potential outpost on c5. I think knight to c5 would have been a really strong move here for white. And knight to c3 is also solid. Nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy. This is just this position here. I mean, think about it. This is just dry, fun chess at its best. There are no crazy pins, and then the queen's gonna be lost on f6 or on f3 somehow, but it's okay because we get both of white's rooks or something. That's not the kind of chess game we're playing right now. Or reviewing right now. b4, gain some territory, that's nice. I also took notice at this point in time that the knight that backpedaled away from the outpost is now on c3 as a loose piece. So that comes into that is most likely gonna turn up as a factor in some of our calculations later. This is a weird idea. This idea of a pawn storm in the position like this. I mean, really a pawn storm right away, but wouldn't I normally want to play rook to g8 first, pinning the defense of the knight on f3? There's enough pawns that black might burst through the center here, and with this pawn pinned and a pawn on e4, white will have to backpedal, say to d2. So this is better move. Rook to g8 is a better move. Pawn to a4. Not a good move. I missed it though. The computer best, or the best move, is bishop takes b4. When the knight escapes, or if a rook defends him, then we capture on a4. Let's see how this goes. Bishop to b4, knight e2, like we thought could happen. Bishop retreats to d6, then knight d2, and black's even pushing b4 to start promotion threats. I'll play this out on practice. Okay, so the computer liked the idea bishop takes b4. There's a back pedal. And for one reason or another, the next best move for black was bishop to d6. I don't see that right away. I would want to play bishop takes a4 and maybe cement my one pawn advantage. That is not like that. Torch, or the computer on maximum doesn't like that. So we do what Torch suggested. This is left aligned. Bishop takes b4, knight e2, bishop d6, knight to d2. Okay, so here we have, with white to move, we'll go back like this. Here the computer is capturing on b5, and we see that white has given up a full pawn, and black is pretty much squarely up a full pawn and more. I mean, some of these white pieces aren't as active as black's pieces. Okay. So you get the idea there, but then the computer, instead of A takes B4, in the other screen, the move was, I think, knight to D2, right? Knight to D2. And black is again doing fine. Liquidate the pawn on pawns on A4, or we could start an early push for promotion. I don't like pushing for promotion here. It seems like there's too many pieces available for white. To gang up on the B pawn. Can black really hold that pawn? Probably. You know what? I mean, black has a lot of defenders available, and what about A5 soon enough? That puts a better hold on. So let's try it. We're here to play. Black is black to play in this theoretical variation, and I'm going to play pawn to A5. Computer thinks it's good. I'm also seeing that this has more long-term potential because of how difficult it will be for white to attack the pawn on A5. It's a pawn that's more easily supported. That being said, this is a middle game position with multiple minor pieces, multiple major pieces per side, more than 4 pawns per side. Against the computer, there's no way. No way. Against the computer, and the way computers are so very strong these days, I am not going to be able to win this game. So this is as far as I'll take it. Against the human, I probably could crank this out. Against the computer, it's not going to happen. So let's close this. Go back to the game itself. I ended up capturing on A4 without paying enough heed to the idea of bishop takes B4, because when the pawn is captured back, that also spawns defense on white's side for the B4 pawn. So I miscalculated a bit. I want to get this kingside pawn storm going. I would say this position is even, but black has jostled himself into a worse position than necessary. The pawn on h4 needs to be babysat. That's one of the issues for black. It will, at various times and in various ways, might be easy for white to attack that pawn. So that's not what I would have intended. Fortunately, things are going by here on the queen side, and a little bit better there. Now here I decide I'm okay with losing that pawn. I'm not, but sometimes if you're going to lose the pawn eventually, lose the pawn now. That's a bit of chess aphorisms or advice. Knight takes b5. My opponent is playing well. And I'm going back to h8 and giving up the long-range piece. This is not my best late middle game. At this point, we can almost call this an end game. This is an end game. Some natural moves. I was glad to play e4. Boots the knight away from attacking the h4 pawn. That knight cannot go anywhere aggressive here. He's blocked by his pawn. My f6 pawn is covering other directions, and my rook is covering h4. So then h2, we might as well, you know, set up a chair and sip Mai Tais, or ask for an umbrella for his drink or something. Yeah, he's out of range here. He's at the beach or something. So my opponent might play knight to d2. Now I sense a bit, yeah, here, in keeping with the plan, we've booted the knight. I'm actually sensing a bit of blood. Falsely so, because I thought h2 was covered somehow. At this point in the game, I thought h2 was covered. I'm going to play rook to b2 and scare white's knight away. And then once the knight's scared away, there's no one covering b1, so rook to b1, checkmate. How about that? Although here it would be check, but I'd get the knight for free or something. No, that wasn't how the position was, because h2 isn't attacked; it's free. I noticed that around here. Still gonna continue with that plan because it's still the best move. The knight moves to b3. I'm aware that rook to b1 check is not mate, so I make what I think was a better move, moving my knight to b4. And we see things have come back from the dead. The idea of the knight occupying an outpost on c5. And he's safe because of steady support, in this case, steady pawn support. He is just cutting into black's position here. It's a very powerful knight. When you see this in your game, you sometimes, this is a signal. When a knight outpost is far in your territory, or maybe on the 6th or the 5th rank, one of the things you'll want to think about to go against such a strong position is sacrificing the exchange. Give up one of your rooks for that knight. You often will get a knight and a pawn for a rook, which of course is still a sacrifice. As you'll be receiving 3 and then 1 points of material, knight being worth 3, pawn being worth 1. That's what you'll receive, and you'll be giving out 5. So you're still losing a point of material. The rooks are worth 5 points of material, but it's a lot better than having a knight just dropping himself on c5 there for the rest of the game. I wasn't quite at that point to experiment that yet. As I'm pushing my opponent's king to g2. I'm eventually playing for the idea of knight to d3, where I can capture thereafter with the knight and give up less material than like I was contemplating and like I was speaking about the rook. Knight to d3. Alright, Torch likes rook takes f2 first. It's a more flexible move. It gets what I can get while I can actually get it. If you get it, and knight to d3. I don't know if I was overly concerned with the positional exchange of knights. This might only be a blunder if we're aware of what's going up in this quadrant, or a little bit more than a quadrant. The knight has no great options. About knight to b8, he's kind of away from things. It scares Black's king, but the Black king can be scared to c7 where he's attacking both pieces. And he's going to win both those pieces, save for the rooks running away to a safer spot, maintaining protection on b8 all the while. It's rather this is a rather complicated position, I'd say. Rook takes f2. That's what I chose, and the other move to consider, f5. Rook a1 is even worthy of consideration. I played rook takes f2. Some jostling around here with the king and the knight. So in terms of computer best move, knight to e1 was not the move, but if white misses the point, as g8 misses the point, white has to play rook takes h4, king h1, or king g1. According to Torch, those are the moves that allow for at least some idea of surviving this position. All the other moves, any of these other moves for white, any move with a knight, rook to h7, rook to h6, rook to g8 as was played, rook to, these all lead to the same checkmating pattern. And that's knight to f3 check, king h1, and here we have it, rook to f1 checkmate. So the game was reasonably accurate. Like I said, it was one of these really dry, fun chess games. Right? We look at a position like this one and we think it's kind of a dry game. But you want to practice these games, especially if you're looking to become serious about chess. Because they're gonna happen. They happen. It's tournament play and other play sometimes produces a dry chess game. Other things. What else I liked about this game is look how late the game broke. As late as beyond move 30. My opponent and I played with approximately equal handle over the position. Quite that late. And then spotting a mating opportunity and correctly enforced. So, and I won. I love winning. So it's a really fun game for me. In addition, I'm over 1700 in my rating strength now. So I'm proud about that. Okay, let's see, Jordan, where are we going from here? I'll say that's it for this broadcast. Right. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Gravitrons. I'm more gravity. Have a great night.